Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show. So great to have you with me, and so great to be able to have a longtime friend on the show today, Ashya McDonald. Fun fact, I actually worked for Ashya and Jack some years ago when living in Australia, and so to see their businesses really flourishing now is no surprise to me. But recently, Ashya actually launched a swimwear brand in Australia, and it's really popping off, to be honest with you. It's going really well, and so I brought her onto the show to ask her how she's launched, because a lot of the audience, a lot of you guys that are watching this, listening to this, would typically be Amazon sellers. You launch on Amazon, and then maybe down the line you launch your own Shopify store, begin to do some paid traffic marketing off of Amazon to try and build out that holistic brand. However, Ashya has started from scratch with influencers, with Instagram, and without launching on Amazon. So it's a bit of a different take to how you can launch a brand, but I think really good for you guys to hear and learn the journey she's been on, so that you can either A, input that into your existing Amazon business, or B, consider other potential businesses that you could launch. And the power of influencer marketing, we talk about how she actually went about finding these influencers, how she communicated with them, how she built rapport with them, and how she's done it. Honestly, is the way to do it in the current times. It's not about transactions, it's about relationships. We go into all of that. It's a really insightful conversation, so well worth a listen. Listen, if you are listening to this on podcast, don't forget you can see the video version on YouTube. And if you're watching on video, you can also get the audio version on Apple and Spotify. Be sure to check those out via all of the links in the show notes or the description on YouTube, so that you can listen at your convenience. Hope you enjoy this episode. I really enjoyed this conversation. So let's get into it. Awesome. Well, I am here with my good friend, Ashya. Ashya, it's so good to have you on the Brand Builder Show. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Ben. It's exciting.
So good to have you here, all the way from sunny Australia. You live where everybody else wants to holiday, on the Gold Coast in Australia.
Yes, we are living the dream on the Gold Coast. Mind you, it's been torrential rain for the last 3 weeks. Today was the first sunny day, so
I have seen that. I have seen that because the England cricket team are over, obviously, for the Ashes.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to play any warm-up games. So
No.
because it's been too wet. I'm like, what? That's why we play in Australia, because it's supposed to be sunny all the time. But
I know. Give it a few days of sun, we'll be all dried out.
but it is the Gold Coast is one of my literal favourite places on the planet. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. So, thanks for joining us, taking time out just to share with us your journey about this new brand that you've launched. I'm excited to dig into it. I've been following along on Instagram and seeing all the excitement of everything that's going on. And so it'd be good to dig into it and ask you a bunch of questions about how you've done it, really. We're in kind of the throes of getting an apparel kind of project going. And so this is going to be kind of like me quizzing you for all the things I want to know. And hopefully those people listening.
So giving away all my secrets.
Well, kind of, yeah. And but no, it'd be good. Looking forward to it. Give us a bit of background, though, before we jump in, for those that are listening that don't know what you do, who you are, your kind of business history, I suppose, how long you've been in kind of business, and then this new brand launched recently.
Yeah, awesome. Well, my husband and I have worked together our whole married life, so 20 years. We were as church pastors for 15 years, and in 2015, we started running businesses. So we started with one business, and within 12 months we had 3 businesses, all in the hire and service industry, ones that were more retainer income. To be honest, those were the type of businesses that did not interest me at all. My husband's a great entrepreneur, and he doesn't care what type of business it is, as long as it fits a model that we have. And he loves just buying a business, then together we kind of transform it and then sell it off. So we've done that with a couple of our businesses so far, and keeping a few, and got a few in the pipeline that we're looking at selling off. So it's kind of didn't mean to get into buy and then sell them off, but when the timing's right, we have.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I've always, for everyone listening, like me and Ashya and Jack, our husband, we've known each other for a long time. We actually worked for Jack and Ashya in a church there in Australia, doing youth work there. Went through a whole building project, which was crazy times, crazy times. And so I've seen firsthand, the work ethic, the entrepreneurial nature in your family. And so just to see over the last 5-6 years that really be incredibly fruitful is great to see.
Yeah.
And you've taken that recently and started something new, something that you seem to be really passionate about. Talk to us a little bit about this new brand of yours.
Yeah. Well, look, our other businesses are in water purification and luxury toilets for events and temporary pool fencing and just a few other things. And none of them really interest me. So I was always on the lookout for something that would kind of keep me up awake at night, keep me excited. The previous, when we were in church, that was kind of the environment we're around, and I wanted that again. And put my hand to a few little business ideas, but could never get them off the ground because they weren't really me. They were more like a friend had a business idea, put it aside, and thought, oh, that's good, I could do that. But it wasn't something that was kind of burning within me to do. And when we moved to the Gold Coast 3 years ago, I don't know what it's like in the UK, Ben, but there is lots of bare bottoms around at the beach, and which is fine if you've got the backside for it, go for it. And so my business idea actually started as a joke. It started as one day I'm going to start a swimwear brand. I'm going to call it Full Bums, and it was just a off the cuff joke for probably 18 months. And I remember saying it to a few girlfriends and to Jack, and he came back and said, stop saying that, go and do it. I'm like, no, I'm just joking. I'm just, having a bit of fun, like it's hard to find swimmers with your backside in. I've got a, nearly adult son, and I don't want to go to the beach with my, it all hanging out. And so, but it was just kind of a joke. But the more I started looking, the more I realized it was actually really hard to find. Especially around the Gold Coast, even online. There was lots of brands for the opposite, and they are dime a dozen. Swimwear brands are everywhere, but nothing with a full bum coverage. And so it kind of started dwelling in the back of my head. And then I had a friend of mine who's a very successful online entrepreneur, and she said, Ashya, I'm sick to death of you talking about this. Just do it. And I'm like, no, it's a stupid name. She goes, it's the perfect name. It says exactly what it is. Your the SEO, would be just loving it because it's right on point. Your branding's right there. So that's when I started doing a bit more research, seeing if, this was a niche market or there was a hole in the market. And we have stores Kmart, Big W and Target in Australia. So they're kind of like your big one-stop shop. I don't know what the equivalent would be for you, Ben, but they were the only kind of places you could buy them. So they are a lot cheaper. But if you're wearing them, you'd see 50 other women down the beach wearing them as well. Sure. So I realised, okay, this could be something I could, give it a go, see how it goes. Yeah.
So good. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I think firstly, the great thing about that is you've got some great friends and a great husband, like to hear them saying you need to actually go and do it and motivating you to do that. I love that. So many, partners would say, oh, it's a bit of a risk, or should you really be doing that? I love the fact that they really encourage you to do it.
Yeah. And I think the other businesses that I had brought up with Jack, he was like, okay, let's just, but this one, he was like, no, I could see this being the business that retires him. So, the way it's going, I might retire him sooner rather than later.
Come on, I love that. I love that.
But so he'd be bored. He'd drive me nuts, but that won't happen. There was a few other ideas that just didn't settle before I got to this one. So it's not like I woke up overnight.
Yeah. No, I think it's the classic though of you're solving a need. Like we talk about that in business, and it's a bit of a cliche, but this really is it. You've seen a gap in the market. You know there's already demand there for these kind of products because other places are selling a similar thing, but there's like a niche in the middle of two kind of markets that you saw wasn't really being solved, and you've come in and solved it with a better option. And it's just the classic example of what it's exactly what we teach. It's in terms of find where there's demand, but improve on the options already there, and you'll see some great things. So no, it's really good. How did you go about launching the brand?
So I mean, this day and age, Instagram, social media, Facebook, I think you've got to start there. Yeah. 50 years ago it was newspapers and that kind of thing. Today, the modern day is Instagram, probably even more than a billboard up in a city. And so I just started an Instagram account, started posting images of Australia because I had no product. There was no product there, but I can't have a product and no one to sell it to. So I had to get some followers, people on the board first. So I just started putting it out there that this is what I was doing, started posting pictures. I basically, just found pictures of Australia, New Zealand, California, that kind of thing, and then some fun quotes. Built up a bit of a following. It wasn't that exciting. It was, I was excited because I had no idea how this was going to go. So, once I hit a couple of hundred, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I don't even have a product and I've got these people following so that's how I started.
How long ago was it?
So this time last year, I was on holidays, and that's when I started the Instagram account and started posting on it regularly. So a couple of times a week. And then halfway through last year, I had still no product and nothing, the creative juices had gone. So I kind of left it for nearly 2 or 3 months, maybe once every so often put something up just so it looked a little bit active, because it did take a long time to get the product that I could put my name behind and that I could sell. And so I launched officially the business on the 2nd of September this year. So I'm 3 months in. Nice. Exactly to the day.
And not that it's all about the numbers, but Instagram followers now you're at?
Nearly 5,500.
Yeah, I saw it as because I follow her because I want to support your business and I love seeing how you build it. Obviously, seeing lots of women in bikinis, I've got to be careful with that. But when the wife's
saying that.
But no, it's good. I've seen it's grown really quickly, and you seem to be driving a lot of sales through that. So so was it like 100% Instagram that you did with your launch for your marketing, or?
Yeah, I mean my Facebook, I've got a Facebook attached to it. But I don't do anything individually on there. I do it all on Instagram and it links it to Facebook, and that's all I've done. Yep. I know that when I did the first photo shoot was towards the end of August, and I cracked 300 followers while the girls were there, and I had a bit of a, we had a bit of a dance to celebrate that. So I'm like, you've got to celebrate the small beginnings. Yeah, so true. And then you'll appreciate so much more when it's, I believe one day it's going to be a multi-million-dollar business. Yeah, for sure. And, I've already outgrown my first storage spot, and we've just moved it on the weekend. Nice. And so I'm taking photos and documenting all that and celebrating every step, because I want to look back and know that I celebrated the small things. Yeah, 100%. When I celebrate, the big things. For sure. Yeah. For sure.
What was the cause of because obviously that's quick growth with your Instagram account. And I don't imagine you're doing kind of like dodgy, buying followers and all that kind of stuff. This is like all, so how have you done that?
So I've twofold. I've done Instagram sponsored or boosted some posts, and I do them short and sweet. Like I do 3 days and I'd spend $150 on a post. So I've not outsourced it. I'm still doing it all myself. Just me on the ground learning as I go. And also I've just got Australian influencers. So I've contacted some that are only got 5,000 followers, and then I've reached out to 10, 20,000. And then I've been ballsy enough to reach out and contact ones that are 100,000, 150,000, and just say I'm a startup. I'm an Australian startup. This is what I'm doing, and some of them have got back to me and said, send me your swimmers, I'll promote it. And some have sent me their media kits, and I've been like, thanks so much. I value that is your cost, but I'm just not there yet. And a lot of them have got back to me and said, no, we love startups, so we're going to do it for this much. So at the moment, I'm kind of just winging it a little bit, working out what works for me, what kind of Instagram influencer does work, what doesn't. If, just because I've got 100,000 followers doesn't mean that those 100,000 are interested in swimwear. Sure. I'm still only getting a small percentage of that, but it is, so that's how I've grown, definitely. Yeah, right.
And so let's talk a bit about that affiliate side then, influencer side of it. So you're just gifting them products, you're not paying them fees at the moment?
So it depends on how many followers they've got. For example, one of the girls I reached out, and I've kind of just told them my story, said it's a startup, asked them for their costs, and most of them have got back and said, if you send me your swimmers, and I'm like, which ones? I'm trying to be generous. I want the business to be generous as well. I want them to keep it. I want to be all about that. So I've said, which ones do you like? I'd much prefer them to be promoting ones that actually wear, not ones that I think they would. And So I'm keeping it pretty casual, but I'm building relationship with these girls as well. I'm commenting on their, and not because I have to, but that's what I like. I want to build rapport with some of these influencers. One of them's done modeling for us. So it depends. So I'm trying to stick around that 20,000 followers at the moment, or 15 to 20,000.
Yep.
And a lot of them are doing it for a small cost, maybe 200 Australian to 400 Australian. And they do a post and a couple of stories for me.
Yep.
And I gift them the swimwear as well. And I'm not gifting them one, I'm gifting them a few.
Yeah, sure.
So,
That's really good. I think some real keys in there for anybody listening, you know, that like micro influencers that they often get called, like maybe a smaller audience than some might, you know, initially look for, but actually their audiences are often far more engaged. And like you say, it's got to be far less transactional, a lot more relational, right? You know, I think you've nailed it. You're talking to them, you're commenting on their post. There's a relationship there that they then want to reciprocate with, you know, a good service to you.
Yeah. And even, you know, the one that, one of the girls that has been advertising for me, she's got 100,000 followers. I've followed her on my personal Instagram for many years and commented on stuff. So when it was from the business, I just kind of said who I was. So, you know, as an Instagram, you kind of see those names. Yeah. And now she's fallen pregnant, so I'm commenting on things. I'm building a relationship with her. She was one that her PR agency got back to me and said, this is how much it is. And I wrote back saying, totally see the value in that, but I'm just not at that level. Yeah. And then she replied back to me personally and said, I'd love to help you out and get you started.
Very good.
So I sent her every one of my swimmers, just to, you know, like all of them. I'm like, you know, and that was back in October. She did heaps of stories, and I just watched I'm on Shopify, so you know the old-fashioned registered ding, and it was just ding, 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 ding all day, and followers, and so I made back what I spent on her in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
And so I definitely saw a surge with that. Yep. And you know, I'm still doing the happy dance every sale I get. I'm so appreciative of that. Yeah. And then she was on holiday, so she lives down in Tasmania, which is the south of Australia. She was on holidays at Noosa and took my swimmers with her, promoted them again, and I watched, and I didn't even have to pay her. It's just a relationship built. And ding, 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 everything went again. So I've contacted her again saying, hey, coming up to Christmas, I noticed that you're doing lots of small local businesses. Could I be a part of that? And she's absolutely. So I'm, you know, keeping those long-term influencer relationships as well. Yeah,
that's so good. So much to unpack there. It's good. Are you, with your Instagram account then, are you kind of, because there's this balance, right, of you want it to be like a business and somewhat corporate, but are you kind of managing and messaging and commenting from that account as if it's you, or as if it's like a corporate identity?
No, if it's me, it's totally me. I think this day and age, people so want to see the person behind the brand. Gone are the days of the massive big corporations and they're not in touch with the big CEO sitting in a corner desk. They want to see the brand. And I've taken an example from quite a few Australian Instagram accounts, they're not small businesses anymore. They're, you know, multi-million-dollar businesses. And I've just taken a few ideas from them and made it my own. You know, a lot of people talk about reels. I'm not a real person. I hate making a fool of myself. And I can't do reels. I've tried. I feel like an idiot. So it's just not my thing. So I'm staying true to who I am in this as well. Doesn't mean I won't get the models to do the reels for me. But and I keep saying, I'm happy to be the face. I just don't want to be the body. But I'm having to get my head around the fact that from time to time, I will have to be wearing the swimmers that is, you know, that I'm trying to sell. So I'm still getting my head around that. When you've been a pastor of a church on a platform and then you're wearing your bikinis on social media, it's a little bit of a head adjustment I'm getting used to. So,
No, for sure. Then in terms of those influences, are you, obviously there's like a potentially an upfront fee or just gifting the product. Have you set up any kind of affiliate platform where they can benefit if they do make sales?
I haven't yet. It's probably something I'm looking at next doing because this is all just so new to me. I'm kind of like, winging my way through it. I wish there's no one-stop shop formula for every business. And Jack and I are fortunate enough that we've got the other businesses that I'm not taking any form of income or anything from this business. So I can play around a little bit with what's coming in and see what works. So that's been a great advantage because we do have the other businesses that are, you know, paying us wages and all that kind of thing. But yes, so that's definitely kind of like the next step of working out all that and working out how to do it, because I'm like, you know, YouTubing. How do you do this? Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, like Shopify, it makes so much of it easy because there's so many good apps to help you do this kind of thing. So.
Amazing. Yeah,
definitely.
No, that Shopify has been amazing.
So in terms of your launch, and you talked about influencers and that kind of thing, like obviously as far as you're comfortable, but like in terms of sales and stuff, like you're pleased with how it's gone, like how you're growing and...
Yeah, look, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't have an expectation of what to expect. So I launched on the 2nd of September. I wanted to launch in the Southern Hemisphere spring. So that's obviously, you know, beginning there. And I launched with a party at my house around the pool with just all my girlfriends, and they went live. And, you know, like I had a competition leading up to it as well, and that gained a few more followers. I can't even remember how many I had on the day I launched. I've taken photos of all those things, so it's all catalogued. But and I had a party, and we were launching at 8 p.m. Like the website was going live, and so I just had the girlfriends that are around there, and then we're all sitting there like, because I didn't know, is it going to go crazy or is it going to be like the tumbleweed rolling through for the next month? And I'm so glad I had all those girlfriends there that, you know, within an hour, I think I had 7 sales, and they celebrated that like it was 700 sales. And so the first month I ended up doing 12.5 Australian dollars of sales for my first month. And I'm rapt about that. I kind of thought if I did 5 to 10 sales a week, that would be a great start. And I've pretty much sat around that every day.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
And you found it's been consistent like every day, or you know, obviously if influencers are posting, there's big peaks and troughs, or new products launched. How have you found the flows of it?
Yeah, so definitely Instagram's promoting. Instagram influencers. I've seen the spike. I was hoping probably that I would have a bit more of a spike with new product launches, but I'm feeling my way around that. Black Friday and a product launch went hand in hand, and next year I won't do that. So all the Black Friday sales did give me a spike, but then obviously after that I've had a bit of a lull because everyone spent their money until next payday. So it's trickling, but it's not like it was at Black Friday. And I'm cautious too not to always have sales, because then people just wait for the next sale and won't pay full price. So I'm kind of working that balance out at the moment as well, not joining in on every sale that is out there. So definitely seen the spikes. In the first month I noticed that for me Wednesdays I wasn't getting any sales. I couldn't work out. It was like midweek. Just not getting anything. So it kind of come around. I'm like, oh, no sales again. Oh, it's Wednesday. All right. But then Thursday morning, I'd wake up to, you know, on my phone. But then now I'm seeing that change again. It definitely peaks on the weekends. I have a lot of New Zealanders. I do ship to New Zealand at the moment. And they all seem to purchase really early in the morning.
Oh, really?
So I don't know what it is. So I'm seeing that trend of the Kiwis spend all their money in the morning. So I'm seeing a few little trends, but I think it's going to be a good 12 months till I really see a pattern.
For sure, that makes sense. And then talk to us about manufacturing, because obviously apparel is, a lot of our listeners would manufacture sort of more like products, you know, like widgets and plastics and woods and all that kind of stuff, but fabrics and apparel is a bit of a different kettle of fish, so to speak. How did you go about the whole process, you know, sort of beginning to end? How did you go about that?
Look, Google has been my friend, and like I said, I don't have any sewing, dressmaking experience whatsoever. I've got business experience, I've got leadership, management, public, that's all my background, public speaking, that kind of thing. But as far as designing, nothing. So I started off, and it's been a long process. I did want to launch a range, one or two back in Easter, and then just couldn't make it happen. So I had to kind of wait until spring, which in the end, in hindsight, was the best thing to do. But when I started 12 months ago planning for this business, I wanted to launch at Easter. Didn't launch till September. So started with looking at manufacturers in Indonesia. There is manufacturers over there that is their whole thing. They help you start a swimwear brand. But what I found was, and they have designs all ready to go, so they might have 20 designs all ready to go, and you just pick the fabric, the color, they put your label on it and ship it across to you. And my challenge with that was that all of them were a G-string or a cheeky. None of them had with a full bum coverage, or their version of a full bum, when I got sent the sample, was definitely not a full bum. So there was lots, and I mean, if it wasn't COVID, I would have flown over there, I would have sat with them, I would have, but COVID did change the way I had to look at this, and so it did take longer. And samples over there were like $100 each, so it was a lot of money in educating myself in that part and experience. And back and forth, and the language barrier I found even more difficult than probably what I assumed. Being Indonesia, Australia, Indonesia was a lot closer, and so I kind of was getting a little bit frustrated there. Looked at maybe an Australian dressmaker or a seamstress, and then just thought, I'm not ready for that. I know that's where a lot of people start, but I wasn't ready to go that avenue, and so moved to looking at manufacturers in China. And so I just spent hours scrolling through websites and manufacturers, and so mainly all the designs I have at the moment were ready to go designs. So manufacturers already had them there, and I could just put my label on them. But I was really limited to the colour. I had to just go with whatever colours they had. Couldn't change anything, so to speak, except for put my label on it. So the 5 designs I started with were that. And I could have been a lot more, I could have done my own thing, but the MOQ was just so high that I wasn't prepared to go there yet.
What was it with the stuff that you got?
I was looking at like 300, and because I had no idea how this business was going to go. So I wanted to start buying 3 to 5 of every size, not 50 to 60 of every size. In 3 months, I'm already at buying 50 to 60 every size. So that's how quickly I've grown. So now I can, go back to those manufacturers and custom everything I want. And I've done that in 3 months. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've got about, at one stage I was talking about 15 different manufacturers. Go back and forth, and it's a lot cheaper from China to be sent samples. And then, I've got a box in the warehouse, a box of samples that where sizing was just so bad. All the stories you hear about that, I've, had it all. The colours are wrong, the fabric, but it was good experience to learn, what to do, what not to do for future.
Sizing is a big one, right? Because that's again, with just like an iPhone case or something like that. It's just standard, but sizing it's very much open to interpretation. What is small somewhere is not small somewhere else. So how have you gone through that process?
That has been the hardest thing. I mean, I still get sent all my samples in mediums. Now I'm starting to get samples in every size because I've learnt that lesson, but was getting them in mediums. And I remember receiving one medium, and which medium would be an equivalent to a size 10 Australian. I'm not, is UK the same sizing?
I mean, anyway. To be honest, I don't know. Yeah.
I should know that. and and I've got an 11-year-old daughter, and I picked it up and I said, "Can you try this on?" And it was too small on her.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, and then I'll get another medium and I'll be like, gosh, you fit 2 of me in it. So, yeah, that's definitely a challenge. I'm learning to do my research before anything now, getting their sizes off them, not just assuming because they say it's a medium that it is actually a true medium. So, yeah. So I'm having a slight challenge at the moment with a bulk order that I'm just about to receive, that I'm a little bit worried about my sizing, but I'm an answers person and I'll find an answer and make it work. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
How have you found like the return situation? Have you had, because of sizing, people returning and that kind of thing, or how have you worked that?
Yeah, look, I wanted to make that really easy. I think for women, buying jeans and buying swimwear are the 2 hardest things for women to buy. And I know that the world is moving to online so much more. I mean, I buy everything online these days. But I think swimwear is still one of those really difficult things. There is women who want to buy it, try it on at home in the privacy of their own home. They don't want to do it with the shop lady who's telling them they look amazing and it's 3 sizes too small. But, you know, it's still a really daunting apparel item to buy. So I wanted to make my exchanges really easy. So if the women got it, they could exchange. So I'm still developing this because at the moment, a lot of businesses in Australia, they won't exchange. They will refund for a store credit and then let you buy it in another size so that then you're paying for the postage again.
Right.
At the moment, I'm letting them exchange it. I'm exchanging it and I'm paying for the postage to go back to them because I want them to be happy. I want them to be happy with the product they've got. And then if they want to return it, we're returning for a store credit. Sure. So I've tried, so at the moment, I was actually trying to look up my percentages and Shopify didn't give me that answer. But I feel like we've probably got about a 5% exchange. Very, very few want to return. They just need to size down or size up and they're happy to do that.
Which that's pretty good, right, for apparel, especially bikinis, you know, that's good.
Yes, I should. I mean, I've kind of thrown that number out there because I don't feel it's been that bad. And because I have, you know, when I'm promoting it on social media and on the website, I'm saying this is a generous site. You know, I'm trying to be, and answer all their questions as well. Yeah. You know, and I get lots.
Yeah, no, for sure. I follow quite a few clothing brands on Instagram, and that seems to be like they have a very similar approach to you, and they're very connected with their audience, and they often do Q&As, and they always talk about sizing, you know, true to size or runs a little bit bigger, you know, that kind of thing. And I think, you know, a lot of the audience is going to go to those mediums for that information, which should help in the long run. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if they're happy with the products, they're coming back. You know, getting repeat customers, and that's what I want. I don't just want one-timers. I want to, every year or every time I launch something, they have to have that new one, and they buy that. So that's how I have approached my launches as well. I launched with 5 different designs, but now every month or every week, I don't have a particular time. I'm launching something new. Great. So rather than a lot of swimwear brands or a lot of brands might say, here is the summer collection, here's 50 different items. And then so I'm thinking as a consumer, I would jump on, I love the brand, whatever it is, and I would just pick out my favorite 1 or 2 pieces. But what I'm hoping to do is kind of play with the psyche and only have small releases all the time, and give people a bit of FOMO, like they're missing, like they need that one as well. I like that one, and so I'm trialing that one. So my plan is that in summer, like next summer, once a week I'll have a new release, or once a fortnight. This is a little bit slower because I'm still getting going, but at the moment I've just released 2 in the last 2 weeks, and I'm about to release another one next week. Ready for Christmas, ready for our summer to kick in as well. So rather than just a bulk release, I'm gonna
it's good
stagger
thinking.
it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's good. I think that's wise because it gives you another reason to send another email, another reason to create
yeah,
a post, just a
yeah,
reason to communicate and generate more traffic and sales.
yeah,
So that's good.
yeah,
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 that's really good. And like I was saying to you the other day, yeah, you need to get this into America because I think it'll be huge. Like,
yeah.
what are your plans though? Like, how are you feeling about global expansion, all that kind of thing?
Global takeover with full bums.
Yeah,
So, look, I never got in it with a big dream. I mean, I did. Sorry, probably my better wording is I've got a massive dream, but my expectations are realistic.
sure.
And, at the moment, I'm running it it was in my lounge room, the warehouse.
Yeah,
And now it's, as of the weekend, it's been moved out of the lounge room because it was literally taking over. And now I have, I'm official, I have warehouse shelving and, it's official,
nice.
but it's in the rumpus room downstairs now. But my plan is after Christmas to move it into the garage, and then when we renovate our house, we'll actually build a purpose-built office and warehouse in our, we're on property, so on property renovations.
Yeah,
It's all tax deductible that way as well. So that's a good thing. Look, I am planning on launching into Europe and the USA and Canada as of January, February, coming into your summer.
yeah,
And so just working out what that looks like. I started with New Zealand. I've had people from Singapore saying, hurry up and open it to here. So I may look at that option first, maybe before Christmas, opening up to Singapore.
yeah.
And so I haven't yet decided if I will run it all from Australia, like shipping from here,
Yeah.
or if I'll set up warehouses in those places and ship out. I might trial both and see what works. I know there's a lot of really great Australian brands that do ship completely from their warehouse in Australia.
Okay.
And that works for them. And they don't even they all have Australian websites. They don't have websites for different countries either.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of researching and looking into that and trying to get in contact with their directors so I can have a chat and say, why did you go this way?
Yeah,
Why haven't you done drop shipping? Why haven't you, just to suss it out?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I just think of America, especially. I think, 'cause there's a lot of, I suppose your product would appeal more to like a conservative demographic. And I think there's obviously a massive demographic of that in America. So it could be huge.
Yeah. And I mean, I've sold it. It is all about body positivity as well. And so I have made sure we aren't anti the opposite of what we are. We're not anti a G-string. We're not anti a cheeky. My whole thing is if you've got it, rock it. But if you're going to the father-in-law's for a pool party barbecue, stop by us and take it with you.
Yeah,
so yes, it is for the ones that probably are a little bit more conservative, but sometimes other women, they need to pick their swimwear attire pending their audience. So so I'm hoping to market it to that as well. And next year, by next summer, I'm really hoping to have a range for teenagers and preteens as well. So that's my next, where I'm heading next. Yeah, so I'm already working on samples for them.
So good, so good. Well, as I said to you, I'm more than willing to be a model if you need some models in the UK. And,
Look, you'd be amazed how many guys have contacted me because I name the swimmers after my friends. So all my girlfriends, I just thought it's a fun, creative thing to do. And nearly all their husbands have contacted me and said, I'll be the male model. Name it after me. I will. And, look, who knows if I do a men's range down, that might be some more budgie smugglers coming your way.
I think I'd harm sales more than help them, but yeah.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed how many guys have offered to model or be named.
Us guys are all the same, aren't we? Bunch of idiots. So. Anyway, good. No, good. That's really good. So exciting times. Any other thoughts about the brand? Anything you haven't shared yet that you think would be helpful? Anything else?
I think one thing that I've made sure, and I did mention it before, is that I have celebrated it at every stage. Like I had a launch party. I don't have a team. There is no team. I'm the warehouse manager, the media marketing manager, the packer, the orderer, the designer, all of it. And the other day I thought, why can't I have a team Christmas party? So I've invited all the girls who have been modeling and the photographers, because I'm like, I still want to celebrate what I'm doing, because in 5 years' time, I plan to hire a boat and have the Christmas party with my team on that, and I want to be able to look at the photo and go, this was my first team. And look, I have actually employed someone. It was only for 2 weeks while I was on holidays to pack for me, but I have had my first employee. So she's coming to my Christmas party. So I think it's important to sometimes we just look at the big businesses that are, and they're driving around in their flash cars and their flash houses, and that's what we want. And we just don't enjoy the little bits where we are now. And I've got nothing to compare to. I don't know if I'm doing really well, or I should be, if I'm doing 20,000 a month, I don't know whether it should be 50. I've got no idea. I'm just happy where I am and celebrating that, and realizing that Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm here for the longevity of it. I'm 3 months in. I've recouped my money. I'm not taking anything yet. I'm putting it all back in, and I'm enjoying the ride, and I'm having fun with it, and I'm allowing myself to, if there is some failures, there's nothing wrong with that. But to enjoy it and to find something you love. It's not that I love swimwear, but I love women feeling great about themselves. That's probably always been my message about women, loving who they are, loving who they're called to be. And, my methods changed, but the message is still there. And it's what I enjoy doing. So believing in women and keeping their butts covered.
At the same time, no, I love that, and I think you will be, an inspiration to many. I think that, you might think that it's just getting started, but I think people would look at your first few months and think, man, if I can have a first 3 months like that, then I will be so pleased. So, and I think, super helpful thoughts on, the influencer marketing side. A lot of our audience will be, our strategy. Usually the initial launch is on Amazon. The traffic's already there. You don't have to do a lot of this stuff. And so this is going to be like a new thing for a lot of people that opens up, new possibilities with, their own website off of Amazon, building a real brand, which is what we're all about. And so, I think you brought some great insights. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing it. If people want to, no, it's a pleasure. If people want to find out more about the swimwear and about you, what's the URL and the Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, so it's fullbumswimwear.com.au, and the Insta is fullbumsswimwear.
Awesome.
Nice
so
and easy.
Good. Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully, at least our Australian and New Zealand listeners, if we've got some out there, we'll find out more about it. And then by the time, you go global, then people will have it already in their minds, and they'll be ready to buy.
I know. So now my strategy is looking for influencers in America and the UK. So
there you go. If you're an influencer, hit these guys up.
Hit me up. Slide into my DMs.
So good. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Ashya, and we'll look forward to hearing about it. Maybe you can come back next year and kind of share the progress as how it's going.
Yeah, love to.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, there you have it, how to launch a swimwear brand with influencers. So if you are looking to launch apparel, or if you just want to launch your brand off of Amazon, I know that some of the tips that have been shared today will be super helpful for you. If you have found it helpful, I would love if you could do the show a favor and just hit that like button on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, do leave us a review there. I found out this week, actually, you can't leave reviews on Spotify podcasts. So all this time I've been asking you to leave reviews on whichever podcast platform, mainly just Apple. If you're listening on there, would really appreciate the review just to help the channel get seen, get heard. We really want to keep getting great guests on the show, and you guys leaving reviews and helping us with that really helps us get the highest caliber of guests on the show. So really appreciate you taking time to do that. We've got some more great episodes coming up. Another female founder coming up next week, which I'm really excited to share with you her story. It's going to be another amazing episode. They just keep on rolling, baby. We've got great stuff planned for you. So stick around, and I'll see you in the next episode real soon.